I had a chance to train and play with, I would say for me personally, one of the greatest players ever on football. We was Ronaldo, Brazilian Ronaldo. The only time I heard of Sheffield United before was Vinnie Jones. I don't know, I saw it on the website the other day. I didn't realize how good he was until I saw it myself. Was it against Grimsby? Can't remember. I got a ball in between two defenders, and I managed to turn around and take on the goalkeeper and score. That's one of my favorite goals because nobody apart from me in the whole stadium knew what was coming. I mean, everybody knows my favorite club in England is Sheffield United. So if I had to come back, I would have come back for, I don't know, I would have come back running. Somebody, I remember it was Derek McInnes, tried to get through me to get to George, but by getting through me, he put his hand on my face, fingers in my eyes and mouth and everything, but with a full force. So I turned around and just headbutt him.
This is the Sheff United Way podcast with Ingood Nick and Hal Stewart.
Lads, ladies and gentlemen, our next guest on the Sheff United Way, a Cameroon international striker who played for the Blades during the start of Neil Warnock's tenure, a fan's favourite who scored some memorable goals and featured in a very memorable match. Patrick Suffo, welcome to the channel. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for hosting me tonight. Thank you.
It's an absolute pleasure.
Same here.
So, Patrick, tell us about the start of your football career, because as I mentioned, you're from the Cameroon. You were born in Cameroon, but began playing professionally with Nantes in France.
Yes, I grew up in Cameroon, Yaoundé, capital city, and then I had a chance to make a tournament in France with a youth team in Cameroon. I was about 14, 15 at the time. And that's where they did offer me to come and join the academy. And then a year later, I was in France, came about 15. So I spent a few years in the academy there, and then started my professional, started with the youth team there, training with the first team, and then moved to Barcelona. That's where I played my first professional game, and then come back to Nantes before I came to Sheffield.
Yeah, it's great. We want to hear more about Barcelona, if that's okay.
I was still very young, and then I was playing for Nantes at the time. It was maybe my third year only. And then we went to a youth tournament, under 17 tournament in the north of France. I believe it was in Roubaix. But I was being followed. I didn't know that myself until they made contact with the club. And the club asked me if I wanted to go. In fact, I had a choice with few clubs in Europe, but I chose to go to Barcelona. I could have gone to Italy with Inter at the time, or any other club in Italy at the time. I had few offers from Italy, but I chose to go to Barcelona, football-wise.
Yeah, don't blame you.
No, it was the closest football to what I knew in Nantes, so I chose to go there. Yes.
Yeah, I don't think we blame you at all wanting to go to Barcelona. Were there any players at that time that kind of me and Hal would know that were playing in the same team as you, or kind of around you at the time?
Definitely Puyol.
Wow.
Because we shared, when I first got there, they had to put players, foreign players with local players so they can learn Spanish quicker. So I had a chance to share the apartment with Puyol. We were very close until I left back to France again. And then I had a chance to train and play with, I would say for me personally, one of the greatest players ever on football. We was Ronaldo, Brazilian Ronaldo.
Oh,
wow.
So that's story. Another story about Barcelona as well. We had Bobby Robson. I was the same year I signed. Johan Cruyff that took me to the club, left as a coach, and Bobby Robson took over with a certain Mourinho as his assistant.
Yeah, Jose Mourinho doing the translation.
Yes, exactly.
Wow. So you played with some true legends, as you just mentioned there, and you've had a lot of different experiences, really, it's fair to say, in your football career.
Yes.
strikes you as the highlight? I mean, I'm sure winning the gold medal for football with Cameroon at the 2000 Olympic Games in Sydney, Australia, has got to be up there.
It is, but when you go into a club academy and then with your club you end up winning a major title, is always how am I going to say it? It's something it's over satisfying because you go through the youth ranks, hoping to make it to the first team, then you make it to the first team and end up winning the French Cup with us the year before I came to Sheffield. This is the first big highlight of my career where I felt like I have achieved something in what I always loved. So apart from the title with the national teams, this was one of the first highlights of my career. And then you dream playing for your country. Not only playing for your country, you end up winning African Cup of Nations, the Olympics, and then it's definitely the main highlight of my career. Yes,
absolutely. Well, Patrick, from the highlights to the lowlights, we have to ask this question because a lot of Sheffield United fans don't know the reason why when we signed you, we had to wait a little while because while you were at Nantes, you were banned from playing for 8 months. But why? What actually happened?
So this happened when I was in Nantes. I played with the reserve team. Going into that match, mentally I wasn't there because I was with the first team the day before on the Saturday. So I didn't play or play only a few minutes. Then I had to be match fit, so I'll go and play with the reserves the next day. So you travel, come back at night, and then you have to wake up early and travel again with the reserve team for a game. So we're playing this game in, I remember it was Saint-Brieuc in the Britannia part of France. In a rainy Sunday, and then very tired. We're winning 1-0. There's a minute to go. There's a free kick for the opposing team. Stood in front of the ball to prevent them to take the free kick quickly, as everybody does. So the guy came, and then instead of, the referee was right there. The guy came and pushed me like then I look at the referee. Referee didn't say anything. I stood up again. I was still in front of the ball. The guy came and pushed me again. Then I retaliated. So that's how I got banned for. Initially, they said 3 games, and then we went to the discipline commission in France at the FA. They decided to put me 6-month ban. Because I was playing with the first team coming down, I had to lead by example. Then I shouldn't have retaliated. So that's how I got banned. So then I signed for Sheffield. I didn't know that myself, that my ban was also was all over Europe. So when I signed for Sheffield, and then the paperwork went through, then I found out I couldn't play there either. So that's what happened. Yeah. Those 2 episodes are the lowest in my career. Talking about it, I'm just going to follow up with the rest of it. And then the famous battle of Bramley, which happened a few years back, involving George Santos. That was the main player on that battle. But I felt like how did I get involved was like I felt like I had to protect my teammate. So everybody was around George after the tackle. So we were all surrounding George. And then somebody, I remember it was Derek McInnes, tried to get through me to get to George. But by getting through me, he put his hand on my face, fingers in my eyes and mouth and everything. But with a full force. So I turned around and just headbutt him. I mean, it was instinctive. It wasn't something that I thought before, and before that I didn't have. I don't believe I had a yellow card or something like that before. So it was just unfortunate that it happened that way. But I still think I got sent off for the right reason, protecting my teammates.
Did you know what was going to happen? Did George know he was going to do something? No.
Maybe George knew, but if he knew, it was only him. We didn't know anything about it. Didn't know anything about it at all.
Yeah, the thing was, it was a terrible, terrible pass. in the first place, wasn't it? So it gave George
the opportunity.
To go and do that. It was almost like the West Brom player was in on it a little bit.
I think it was Derek McInnes who played the pass to Andy Johnson, which was short. And then Andy Johnson and George had that collision, which was definitely 90% George, 10% Andy Johnson,
but
came off.
I understand that before that incident, there was something about it before, long before. The year before, George had a metal plate placed in his face.
Andy Johnson had elbowed him in the face
and never apologized.
No, and George was in a really bad way and apparently could have even lost an eye, so he was furious.
And then it comes from that. I think it comes from that, and George was still in George's mind. But I didn't even know. I didn't know. All I knew was George came in, I came in. We tried to push and get a goal, and then we end up having that battle.
Yeah, it's a good point you mentioned. We were pushing going for the goal because we recently spoke to Gus Uhlenbeek.
Yes.
And Gus Uhlenbeek came off, a defender, and you replaced him, a striker. Yes. So we were obviously, even though we had 10 men, we were still going for goal.
For a goal, yeah.
And we asked Uhlenbeek, who technically the best player he played with was, and he said, Patrick Suffo.
Oh, Mr. Gus. That's my guy, yeah.
He's a lovely man.
Fantastic guy. Fantastic. Nice to have around the changing rooms and all that, yeah.
Were you friends with Gus?
I was very close to Gus. Yeah, our time in Sheffield, we were talking a lot. We were very good friends. I mean, that group was a fantastic group, by the way. It was a very, very good group of players. You know, the older ones were taking the younger ones under their wings. Me especially, I didn't speak a word of English when I was coming here. I was coming to Sheffield, and then everybody just embraced me, and then just took me to nice restaurants in Sheffield, showed me around. And it was fantastic. It was one hell of a group of players.
Just going back to how you came to Sheffield, did Neil Warnock know at the time that you were banned? How long you were banned for? Or did it happen?
No, I didn't know myself. Neither the club knew. We didn't know. You know, it happened to... What happened is my ban was close to the transfer window. That's all I remember. I mean, almost end of the season. And then I have the opportunity to go. I didn't want to stay in Nantes for a reason because we won the French Cup the year before, and I didn't feel like I was having a lot of playing time. I played 24 games a season before, but I didn't play as I wasn't a full starter, if you want. As I didn't play as I wanted to play, you know, because if you watch Nantes at the time, it was a very, very tough team. And the way they're playing with my football, I'm not saying I couldn't play the way they were playing at Nantes. I'm more of a player to keep the ball and try and make a difference. But they wanted me to let the ball go. Let the ball go more, you know. So I didn't feel like, even though I enjoyed it, but I didn't feel like that was for me at the time. So when I had the chance to come to Sheffield, I jumped on it.
Had you heard of Sheffield United before you joined the club?
The only time I heard of Sheffield United before was Vinnie Jones. So I knew Vinnie Jones, and I forgot that name is gone now. Because in France he was very popular, you know, because of his tackles.
Yeah.
So that's how I knew about Sheffield United. And then we also knew in France, I watched once there was a program, they was talking about the biggest derby in English football. So Sheffield Derby was one of the derbies they spoke about, and then that's how I knew about Sheffield United.
Yeah. Did you agree with that once you experienced a Sheffield Derby?
I don't think there's any other derby that have participated in as hot and strong as this one, you know, with full of passion, you know, it's unbelievable. I enjoyed those games. It was, I mean, if I do it again tomorrow, I'll jump on it. It was fantastic. Yeah.
That's the right answer. Patrick, it's not often that Sheffield United sign players from Ligue 1, and I don't think we've ever signed a player before or since from Nantes. So how did that move actually come about?
Um, it was me that pushed him over. It was my how am I going to say it? It was my own idea to move from North. So my agent at the time, it has his partners in England. So I sat down with him. I said, "Listen, Papa, I need to move. I want to move. Where do you want to go? Any other team in France? No, I can't see any other team in France since I played for Nantes and all that. I don't see myself playing in another team. Where do you want to go? Do you have any contact in England? I like that football." It's like, okay, let me check. So he went through. I don't know if you knew, I don't think you know him. Phil Black. I'll never forget that. Did everything to he made everything happen, and that's how I ended up in Sheffield.
Brilliant.
So Neil Warnock was the manager.
Yes.
What did you make of Neil Warnock? And what was he like to kind of play under?
Honestly, at the very beginning, I was a French boy in England. I didn't understand a word of what he said. You have to note that as well. In the north of England, they have a different accent from what I've heard before. So it was even more difficult. So I didn't feel much pressure from Neil until after a full season. You know what I mean? So every instruction he gave me, I had to rely on Laurent Jaffo or George Santos to put it to me the way he wanted. So I didn't feel the same pressure, the same passion as Neil wanted at the time. So I was I was okay in that sense. And then when I understood what he wanted from us, when I started to understand properly the English, and then I found out how passionate the guy was, how willing to win was in him, then I understood what happened the year before.
Yeah. Would you say that he came across as a good manager? Because you worked under a lot of managers, so you know a good manager.
Honestly, for me, it's one of the few that gets the player to give everything he has. And for a manager to be able to get the best of a player is the best thing you will want. So he was that.
Great. We've heard a lot. Yeah, we've heard a lot of people say really good things about Neil Warnock, and that's great for us to hear, because Nick and I, he was quite big for us in terms of making an impression on our formative years, and also Neil Warnock being a Sheffield United fan. It's great when you hear former players say that he was actually a decent bloke and a good manager.
I mean, apart from his passion on the touchline, he's a great man to be around. And we're still in contact, by the way. So
wow,
we text each other sometimes. Yeah,
that's great.
He was a fantastic man. You'll see him after the game. You won't even believe it's the same guy. So,
I think we've seen a little. Yeah, I think we've seen a little bit of that in documentaries and stuff, because he obviously goes down south. He's got a tractor and all that lot.
Yeah, Cornwall. Yeah, he likes to.
We went to his house in Cornwall at one time.
Pre-season.
Yeah, with his players. Yeah.
I bet that was very different, Patrick, to the pre-seasons you'd have experienced with Barcelona.
God, yeah. I mean, here we definitely train to be fit for the whole season because of the demand of the championship, which was a very, very, very strong league as well. It wasn't as easy as, I think it was even more difficult to play in the championship than in the Premier League.
Wow.
In France at the time, yeah. That's
incredible.
That's how difficult it was.
Patrick, do you have a favourite Sheffield United goal that you scored?
You want me to be honest with you? I enjoy every single goal with full passion, because Bramall Lane, I mean, you have to be a player to feel something as soon as you step in that pitch, you know. And but what goal can I say? I don't know. I never even thought about this one. But I had one against, I don't know, I saw it on the website the other day. I didn't realize how good it was until I saw it myself. Was it against Grimsby? Can't remember. I got a ball in between two defenders, and I managed to turn around and take on the goalkeeper and scored. Can't remember that. I think it was Grimsby.
I think it was Grimsby as well, because I think I remember seeing my mate when I told him that we were interviewing you. I'm pretty sure he said, ask him about the Grimsby goal. So I think it is.
I think it was Grimsby. That's one of my favorite goals because nobody apart from me in the whole stadium knew what was coming. So
That was 2001, I think,
yes,
when you're thinking of, at Bramall Lane when we beat Grimsby 3-1.
yes.
Yeah, I think you got 2 that day.
Yes, I got 2 that day. Yes.
Yeah, Lauren DeJaffo setting one up as well.
Yes, yes. The first one, the one I'm talking about. Yeah, I think it was a header.
That's right.
And then I received it back to the goal with 2 defenders. And I managed to turn around to go in between them and take on a goalkeeper and score. So I would say that was the most memorable goal for me for Sheffield United.
I absolutely love hearing that. I think Nick and I were both there as well, so that's great to reminisce. And we've spoken about the Battle of Bramall Lane, and thank you for sharing your memories of that. It's not a pleasant memory for any of us because, as you can probably tell from my shirt, I didn't want you to leave. I mean, I loved watching you play, and I could see your passion on the pitch. And also, I was quite excited that we were going to have a player going to the World Cup as well, which of course we'll get to in a moment. But after the Battle of Bramall Lane, Neil Warnock, Sheffield United's then manager, said you would never play for the club again. Were you surprised by this reaction from the club?
Honestly, I don't even remember all everything that was said in the newspaper and all that, because I don't read papers, especially when I was playing. I don't go in the next day and try and find out if there's my picture in the newspaper or something like that. So I didn't really know. All I knew was the ban was quite long, and I had the World Cup coming. I went to the office myself and said, "Listen, I have the opportunity to go and finish my season in Spain, and then so I don't miss the World Cup." The rest, I don't really know. People tell me that, but the way I left, I don't feel like I betrayed anyone or I was kicked out. No, I don't think so. It didn't. I mean, maybe publicly because of what happened, it was portrayed like that. It wasn't like that. So, it was a shame because I still love Sheffield United. I'm still very big fan. I watch almost all the games.
Oh, that's brilliant.
It was very. Everybody knows my favorite club in England is Sheffield United. So if I had to come back, I would have come back I would have come back running.
Yeah.
That's great to hear because you've just taken my question out of my mouth because I was just going to say, did you want to leave Bramall Lane or did you want to stay? Better question, and I'm guessing that's a yes.
Yes, of course. I wanted to stay. If it wasn't for the ban, I would have stayed. Don't forget I was coming from the French football, and you have to readapt to the English football, which was very physical and less tactical, very direct. And I think I was getting there when I left.
Yeah, it was all starting to click.
Yeah, if I had stayed 1 or 2 more years, maybe I would have stayed at the club for maybe 10 years following. Maybe if they didn't want me to leave.
We would have loved it. I could have seen you being a club legend, scoring goals regularly.
I wanted to stay. I didn't want to leave. Unfortunately, this incident happened sometimes. So, but
I think we could tell how technically gifted you were as well. So we wanted to see more of you, which was really sad. So yeah, because obviously we heard a lot of good things about you before you actually played your first game. Because obviously you were a Sheffield United player for quite a while, and we were really excited to see you. And then obviously we saw you getting better, like adapting more and more and more. And then it would have been great to see more of it.
Yeah, we were following you in the Olympics as well. That's why that's why we were all cheering you when we gave you that award, because we knew we were signing you. So we'd all kept an eye on you.
Yeah, but in reality, my real position was never a striker. I was more of a midfielder. Then I had to readapt as a striker because of the way football was starting to change. Like today, for example, you don't see no number 10s. It doesn't happen anymore. That's my real position. I was more of a number 10, never a striker.
Hey.
So I had to readapt as a striker.
Can you imagine, Nick, Patrick Suffo playing in the Mark Duffy role? For Chris Wilder? I think Chris Wilder would get the best out of you, Patrick.
When I watch them play, I think that style will suit me today. The style of football they're playing today. Yeah,
I agree.
I definitely think so.
But you saw what happened to your friend Santos, and he had to leave, and I'd imagine the same would have had to happen if you hadn't decided to go and get those key games before the World Cup in Spain.
Yeah. I mean, it was an unfortunate incident. I think people didn't use. I don't want to say common sense. They didn't try to read into the incident itself. So they only judge by what they see. They didn't try to understand the circumstances. They didn't try to understand why we came to that. They didn't try to understand why these things happen. They only judge by what they see. But at the end of the day, you cannot blame anybody to judge by that, because on a normal game, fans come to on the stadium on the Saturday to watch the game, to see a win. They don't care about what happened all week in training. So, but we have to take that. And just move on. But it was very unfortunate, because I believe we had a very, very strong team that year with some strong, experienced players, and then it was a shame that season ended up like that.
I was just going to say, so obviously you and George went down the tunnel together. Well, obviously a minute apart or whatever.
Different times.
Yeah. So what happened after the game? Did Neil come in shouting and bawling, or was he quite calm?
Oh, surprisingly, it was more calm than you can imagine. Because after the game, all the adrenaline is just down, and then you come back to your senses and try to analyze things with you analyze things differently. So your reaction won't be the same as when you're really, really into it. So it was quite. Surprisingly, it was very, very calm. It's one of the few times I saw him so calm.
Well, a lot of Gary Megson, the manager of West Brom, was saying that he was telling players to go down. You didn't say anything like that, did you?
That's not true. I never heard anything like that. Not true at all. Just imagine starting the game. It was maybe 10 minutes before Simon Tracy got sent off. I'm not even sure it was 10 minutes. So with 10 players, we already with 10 players, and then we have two more players sent off. And at what rhythm we play in the championship. How come a player can play a game like that and not get to the point where our players were getting tired? Ravolathon, I remember, couldn't even run anymore. Michael Brown couldn't run anymore.
Yeah.
They were tired. There was no instruction, nothing like that. At least I didn't hear it.
Yeah, well, that's good to hear, actually, I have to say. Nick, I'm glad you asked that question, because I felt at the time like I was one of the few people that believed Neil Warnock.
No. He never gave instruction for that. No chance.
Well, he did say as well that I think West Brom were towards the top of the league. They may have even got promoted that season, and we were. I don't think we were even near the playoffs. So Neil was saying, why would we want an extra game? Why would we want to kind of get this abandoned and play it again when we've got no chance of kind of the playoffs? So
exactly, we were, I think, 7th or 8th.
I think we were a bit lower. I mean, Nick and I were
we were a bit lower, yeah.
We talked about this the other day, Patrick. We looked at the squad that we had that season, and we couldn't believe we didn't win promotion.
Yeah. Because we didn't start, we didn't start as good as we should have started. That's why I think we didn't play for the playoffs that day.
Yeah, I think you're right. When we think of not just the goals, but your entire time at Sheffield United, is there anything that comes to mind? Maybe your fondest memory? Maybe it was just something that happened in training, a funny moment, the day you signed, meeting certain fans, making friends. Was there anything that sticks out?
No. Yes, you remember when I came back from the Olympics and I got presented to the fans without ever kicking a ball for the club?
I was there.
And the fans stood up for me. I was almost in tears because they knew me. They never saw me play. But yet, they were for me that day, so it was unbelievable for me. On the pitch as well, on match day, before the match, I got a big presentation. That was unbelievable. I can never forget that. We definitely felt like we had a connection with you already. And did you feel that? Obviously, you did feel that connection, but did you enjoy playing in front of the fans? I couldn't wait for home games. Trust me. All I wanted to play, if you could play all the games at home, it could be fantastic. I couldn't wait for the home games because that's where I felt I felt the passion. I felt everything at Bramall Lane. I mean, it's just unbelievable for me. You asked Lauren Jaffe, he would tell you we couldn't wait. I mean, I was telling him, when is our next game at home? When is our next game at home? Because I want to play home game.
Yeah. It's not too many interviews you'll hear where you talk about playing on the same pitch as Ronaldo and then Lauren Jaffo, but we're very, very pleased that you have. And of course, Patrick, you still had the World Cup 2002 in South Korea and Japan to come, of course, after the Battle of Bramall Lane. Let's talk a little bit about that World Cup. I was an honorary Cameroon fan whenever Cameroon were playing. Of course, they never had to play against England in that tournament, so that wasn't a conflict of interest. But did you actually enjoy that tournament? Because I think we all know what happened.
Yeah, we played against England in preparation for that tournament.
Yes, that's true. I do.
3-2. 3-2 it was, I remember. 3-2 it was against England. Was it 3-2 or 2-2? 3-2, I think.
This is like 18 years ago.
Yeah, I think it was 3-2, yeah, in preparation game. But what happened is, as usual, we're preparing for the event with Cameroon. And then we have friendlies in Switzerland against Argentina. We have everything was done properly until the day before we traveled to Japan. Why? Because we had agreed while we were playing our qualification games, we had agreed on some match bonuses, and then not that the country doesn't pay, but because players play. But the people around the player make the money. So we had agreed that we want our money paid before we even leave Paris to Japan. So we do everything well, everything's well prepared, and then the day before we're supposed to travel, they don't say anything about the bonuses. So we have a meeting between players, like, how do we do? If we set foot in Japan without those bonuses, we'll never see that money again. Not that we're playing for money, but at least we need what we deserve. So we make the meeting and ask for our bonuses. They say there's no money. So we say we're not traveling. So we went back to our rooms. The flight never left. We stayed in Paris for a week. Wow. And we got in Japan maybe 4 days before our first game. Waking up at 3 a.m. with the time difference, thinking it's 6, 7, 8, 9. So we never prepared properly for that tournament. For the tournament at this level, a World Cup doesn't have to be prepared the way we did there. But I mean, we were claiming something that we asked our officials months before, and everything was signed to be done before the World Cup because we felt like we had a great team that could have gone even further than the first round. Unfortunately, that spoiled our World Cup.
Yeah, because I went to Mexico last year, and it took me at least 3 or 4 days just to get my head right and get my sleeping patterns back. So having to play football, I was just laid on a sunbed. I can't even imagine having to play football against some of the best players in the world. Crazy.
Yeah, because you did actually have quite a hard route in that tournament as well, I seem to recall.
Yeah. Yes, it was hard. It was 24 hours to get there for us. Then we got there. We couldn't sleep properly. We couldn't really do anything normal because, I mean, your body is not ready. Like Nick says, he goes to Mexico. It takes him, it takes you for 6 hours different. You need 6 days to come back to your senses.
Yeah.
And we get there 5-6 days before our first game. I mean, training session was just a mess. We couldn't sleep in the hotel. You see player walking at night thinking because of the time difference, like, what time is it? What time? We weren't ready for a tournament of this magnitude. We weren't ready.
Yeah. So you played for Cameroon 29 times. How proud were you to play for your country, especially how proud were you to go to the World Cup as well?
When I was a kid, I was dreaming and playing. When I was like a really kid, I was dreaming playing with a shirt, same color shirt with my friends. Like, You know, it was like something unbelievable. You feel like you're a real player. Like when you have all the same shirt or same t-shirt, same shorts, same socks. That was my, and then let alone playing with the same shirt. Then you play in the men's stadium in Cameroon, which was my dream, playing in that men's stadium with the national team. So, I mean, the pride, you could tell when you see Cameroon play, the pride that we had wearing that shirt, you know, the team that we had at the time. I mean, we were lions, so to say, you know.
You are indomitable
Yeah,
lions.
yeah, but we were really embodying the lions on the pitch. You know, team were afraid to play against us. But more than that, I was very, very glad to wear that green, red, and yellow shirts for Cameroon. That was my dream since I was a little boy. Yes.
Yeah, and ever since you've played for Cameroon, I've kept an eye on Cameroon, my second nation, even though I've never been there, and I can't speak any French.
You're welcome to come to Cameroon. I'm setting up my association soon with a team that will be called the Blades, Yaounde's Blades. So
oh wow!
You'll be welcome there, no problem.
That's amazing. I didn't know that. That's good luck with that. That sounds
I'm
fun.
working on that. Yes, I'm working on that, trying to put that down an association with kids that we're going to get from there that doesn't go to school. We try to put them back to school and then inform them in some sickness awareness, you know. And then in the back of that, I'm going to set up a team with a community center where kids would come and enjoy time, and then I will set up a team that will be called Blades. Yaounde's Blades.
Great thing to do. Are you going to wear red and white stripes?
Yes, of course. Same color as Sheffield. That's my idea of it.
Fantastic, Patrick. What a great thing to do. So, after you left Sheffield United, and you've already expressed your love for the club, where did you enjoy playing most after Sheffield United? Because you played in a number of different countries.
Yes. You mean after Sheffield United?
Yep. Your most enjoyable place aside from Sheffield?
I would say Nantes, obviously, is one of the best stadium in France, La Beaujoire. I don't know if you know the main stadium in Nantes. Mm-hmm. La Beaujoire. And then one game that is still in my mind is my first game in Lyon, in the old stadium. The way the stadium was set up was very enjoyable. And the old stadium at Coventry, Highfield Road.
I liked that stadium too.
That was a fantastic stadium. I had a great time there as well. Fantastic
the away fans on the side.
Exactly. Away side on the side, and it wasn't very big. You could feel the fans as well. It was fantastic. I love that stadium too.
Yeah, I think the Coventry fans really miss that stadium.
Yes, we do. They do. They definitely do, because ever since they left the stadium, the clubs has been going different ways. Yes. Yeah,
and that'll obviously be sad for you. So you keep an eye on Coventry, and you've already mentioned you still look out for Sheffield United's results.
Of course, I always do. Every weekend, I can't wait for the games. It's unfortunate that in the last game we've been playing well, but not getting the result we want. So we're playing good, but you can't just get the results. So I just hope it doesn't last very long, because mentally it can be. If you're not strong, it can be, it can be stuck in your head, and then you start doubting yourself.
Do you keep in touch with any former Sheffield United players? Like, obviously, Laurent Dejaffo, you've already said Neil Warnock. Is there any others?
Jorge Santos, the French guy, obviously, we more than kept in touch. I sent a message to Rob Kozlov last night. We exchanged message on the.
Can we before we carry on? Can we ask if you've got any Rob Kozlov stories? Because we ask every single guest that's played with.
Rob himself is a full book. So if we start now, we are finishing.
I mean, if you want to give us one entry to a chapter of Rob Kozlov, we had a great story from Gus Uhlenbeek about Kozlov wearing a Saba's jumper.
There's so many stories about Rob, but I just want to close it by saying you need somebody like that in your club to make the place feel lively. It put life into the club. That's Rob. So he will mess around with anything just so that you can have a good laugh and then feel like the place is living. That's what, you know. They have so many stories. I mean, just thinking about Raul, that's a great guy, great guy. Yeah.
Is there any other players then that you keep in contact with now?
From Sheffield? Not many, but from time to time you're gonna come across one, and then you're gonna exchange words either on social media or, you know. So it's always there, you know.
Yeah, well, you already know that you can reach back out to Gus Uhlenbeek because he's got nothing but nice things to say about you.
I need to get in touch with him. So I'll definitely get in touch with Gus.
So we want to wish you all the best, of course, with what you're going to be doing next with this new venture. That's a really fantastic idea. I was also wondering, this is just a question that I've never had a chance to ask a former professional footballer. You see, we've got all these shirts back here.
Yes.
When you play for a club, you get given all the training kits, your own shirt. And you mentioned earlier how much when you were a boy, you looked forward to wearing the shirt, the shorts, the socks, everything. Yeah. When you leave a football club, do you have to give everything back? Or have you still got training kit?
No, you don't keep the training kit, but you definitely keep the match and the match kit and all the tracksuit and things. I still have mine, so I kept them. I keep one for each season. Everywhere I go. Wow. So yeah, everywhere I go, I keep one shirt, one short, one full kit, and the tracksuit for my personal collection. Yeah, I mean, the day we do the interview with me in Cameroon, I'll be having my collection behind myself.
Yeah, if you'd known. And I suppose another question I was thinking is just that you mentioned you've played at Barcelona, of course, and at Nantes, at Sheffield United. So you've actually played with some truly world class players. But maybe we've asked every player this really. Is there a player that perhaps not everyone realised was so talented, and actually when you saw them in training, you could say, this guy was really special?
Oh, I mean, I won't lie to you. I had a chance to train with, for me, once again, one of the world best, maybe the best player, Ronaldo. I had a chance to train with him in Barcelona. I haven't seen anything like him ever since. So,
I think he says the same thing about you as well.
I'm not sure. They had some great players. I mean, they had Figo, they had Stoikov, they had some fantastic players. I had a chance to play a few games with the first team as well. But Ronaldo was just Pep. He was leaving that season, but that was his last season. He didn't play much, but he was still there. It was Luis Enrique.
Yeah.
Luis Enrique, yeah. He was
the names just roll off the tongue, and you got to play with them and learn your craft at a young age. And of course,
I was very young. I was 17, 18 when I went there. So already had a chance to play with these guys, train and play with these guys. Because like I said, I play maybe 6-7 games with the first team. Travel with them. Unbelievable. Ronaldo, unbelievable. Never seen before. I think I haven't seen anything like that as yet.
Incredible. Yes. Nick, have you got any final questions for Patrick?
No, I think that's it. You've answered everything perfectly. Thank you very much for coming on, Patrick. We really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. One thing about the club today, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a connection with Hilal Club in Saudi Arabia with Sheffield United. I play for both.
You are the only human on the planet who has played for both.
I played for both. So the current owner, Prince Abdullah, was my president. He took me, in fact, he took me to Saudi Arabia.
This is brilliant. I can only imagine.
Yeah, only me and him have the same connection. Hilal and Sheffield United.
Were you saying to him back years ago, you know, you should really buy Sheffield United? They're a great club.
He wasn't very interested in football, as we call it. He was more interested in American football.
He likes the 49ers.
Yeah, exactly. That was his. I went to his house in Riyadh. It was football, American football altogether. Then he ended up in my football.
Yeah, and it's
he's a great man. We stay in touch, by the way. He's a great man.
Oh, that's good to hear. That is really good to hear. You're still in touch with all the heavy hitters and the movers and shakers, Patrick. Nick, you've got to keep his details.
Yeah, definitely.
Patrick Suffo, it's been such a pleasure. I think the thing I've enjoyed most is hearing when you say Sheffield United, you've said we. I love that you still look out for our results. So much to Nick and myself. We were talking before we actually started this interview about how much we enjoyed watching you play, how much you clearly enjoyed scoring goals. I think it's a shame it ended the way it did, but the fact that we've been able to talk about it now, all these years later, and that fans still want to ask you questions, here we are, 18 years on, shows how much of an impact you made, and we're very, very grateful for you giving up the time.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thank you, Patrick.
It was a pleasure, and then anytime I'm ready.
Brilliant.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.